Hey, we are live at Pace Studio. We're here with Miles Mosley. How you doing, Miles?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
And I like what you've done with your bass there.
Custom.
Very cool.
Custom artwork here.
Very cool. Represent. Well, thanks again for being here, and we've got a few songs to play us today.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to play some songs off an album called Uprising that
Cool.
I've released with my friends from the West Coast. Get Down.
Nice. Could you tell us a little about the first song you're going to play?
The first song is called Shadow of Doubt. It's kind of a working man's love song. It's a song about that feeling I've had before, and I think others share, is that sometimes you receive a love that is so great that you feel kind of unworthy of it, and so you have to go prove that you are the kind of human that can receive that kind of awesome relationship. And sometimes you overdo it and you don't need to, but you go, I'm going to climb to the top of the mountain for you. So it's that kind of song.
Yeah. Cool. Whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay,
love to hear it. Yeah.
Let's get it, T. Yep. Every job I get seems one they tape away. But my father raised a proud son. He said, for the woman you love, you got to find a way. So I'm gonna wake up early in the morning, and I'm gonna fight till the fight is won. And if luck runs in it like horses, I got a tip on the fastest one. Oh no, there ain't no shadow of doubt that I'm gonna be the man to make you proud. Oh no, there ain't no shadow of doubt. Although it might take a minute to come around. No, there ain't no shadow of doubt. 'Cause baby, I got you. Every prayer I say is +1. Every dream I have is for two. There ain't no sense in getting nowhere if I don't arrive with you. God, strike me by lightning if this ain't the truth. Woo! I can move mountains with the power of you. I said, I got a ticket on a fast train. My destination is right next to you. Oh no, there ain't no shadow of doubt that I'm gonna be the man to make you proud. Oh no, there ain't no shadow of doubt. Although it might take a minute to come around. No, there ain't no shadow of doubt. 'Cause baby, I got you. On the drums, y'all, Tony Austin. very much.
That was great.
Thanks.
Well, I'd love to talk a little bit about Uprising.
Cool.
Whatever you could tell us about it would be amazing. I mean, just given the title alone, that sounds charged.
Yeah, it's it's kind of a fortuitous record for me. I was, from a songwriting standpoint, wanted to write songs that dealt with common human emotions and the ones that are kind of sticky and bother us and confuse us and make us get in arguments with our friends. And I felt like there was space, and there always is a space for music that can act as a friend or some comfort, or maybe provide some insight to common human emotions. And so a lot of those songs at that time were really written to make myself feel better about things, and my own kind of therapy. And I think what's beautiful about the record is that it's such a broad subject, and it applies to a lot of times. So where we are right now, it really applies, where people are really kind of feeling alone or separated, or So when it was time to produce the record, I went with the West Coast Get Down fellas and charged Tony Austin as producer on it, and got to work making a really intimate sounding record that was like you're best friends with a giant or something. It was like strings and choir and all this size, but it was really up close and personal, and I think that's what we need these days.
Yeah, that does sound cathartic for
Yeah.
you, definitely. Hopefully also for the listener.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you've got another one to play us.
Yes. I'm going to play a song called Abraham, which is my first name. And I realized I've always kind of had the feeling that your name it's not just a name, it's a reminder that you carry with you your lineage. And that when you act a fool, I'm not the only Mosley out there. And so you're acting a fool for your whole family. And that there's not only responsibility to do right and be a fair and just person, but that, you can find inspiration and solace in that, knowing that all these people came before you, and that is why you are here. And if it wasn't for everyone waking up every day and fighting their way up the mountain, you wouldn't be here. So if they didn't quit, you don't get to quit. That kind of thing. Call me Abraham, straight from the mountains of Jerusalem. I got my shield, I got my sword, forged from Egyptian gold. Dig it, man, I'm fit. I haven't cried in years. Sure enough, I'm scared. Mediocrity is everywhere. Nah, baby, not here. Welcome to the wild, wild West Coast. Get there. 50. I can hit a target that disappears. I lay your body down right by the river. I lay your body down in style. I keep a side-eye trained on Lazarus. I roll the rock to the side of the tomb. Dig it, man, kaboom! Say you can call me Abraham, straight from the mountains of Jerusalem. I got my shield, I got my sword, forged from Egyptian gold. Dig it, man, I'm feared. I haven't cried in years. Sure enough, I'm scared. Mediocrity is everywhere. Nah, baby, not here. Ta-da!
That was great. Well, see, I understand you've either toured with or collaborated with a lot of different artists. And just to name a few, Andra Day, Christina Aguilera, Jason Mraz, Lauryn Hill, and I understand you also have worked with Chris Cornell,
Yeah.
who, as we all know, recently left us far too soon. And I was wondering if there's anything you could tell us about your time working with him and what your impression of him was as an artist.
Well, half of me as an artist is my jazz and classical training, but exactly my other half is grunge. I grew up listening to that, like super, super, super heavy in junior high, And the three pillars of that movement was Kurt Cobain, Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam, and Chris Cornell, Soundgarden. And I remember when I first got that phone call to work on his record, I geeked out I lost my mind. Oh my God, I get to meet one of my heroes, Chris, that Temple of the Dog record. Oh man, I listened to that so many times. And I remember going to the session and having a really hard time getting started, just plugging in my bass or my amp or anything, because I had so many questions for him. And he was a really kind person with his time, and created an awesome and creative environment to work on his record. And really fast songwriter. He could write 2 or 3 songs in just a handful of hours. And I remember sitting down with him and asking him what happened in the Seattle scene, and how did it blow up so fast. And he told me a story that actually came to benefit me later on, and it was that they were all friends in Seattle. They all knew each other. They all played in each other's bands. They'd all kind of come up together. Even if some were coming from other cities, they were all a part of the same sound and loved the same art. And when one of them got an opportunity and got signed by a major label and had a hit, instead of them taking that and the fortune and fame of it and leaving everyone behind, they would advocate for those labels to go check out my friend's band. So someone would come by and sign Soundgarden, and Soundgarden would go, well, if you're going to sign us, you should go down the block and see my friend's band, because they're even better than us. And they shared this wealth, and they shared this opportunity, which ended up putting an entire city on the map instead of just one band. And that really resonated with me, because I grew up with all the guys in the West Coast Get Down, and I that was always a story that was in the back of my head about what would happen if you would invest in your friends and invest in each other and in your community of artists, and when one person gets a win, share it with the next. So I owe him a great deal of gratitude for sitting down outside the recording studio and telling me that story, because I think it's one of the reasons why I stuck with it and cherish being with these guys so much, and that we've been able to accomplish what we have.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the community, keeping it alive and helping it to flourish in any number of genres.
Yeah, and I think that's the cool thing, is that philosophy applies to anything. It's not necessarily just music. It's just if you take care of the people around you and share your opportunities, you can all win, and that means all the little pieces are getting a bigger piece of the pie as a whole. So you're greater than your parts.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got one more for us.
Well, I think Tony and I are just gonna make one up.
That's what we're gonna do.
All right.
What do you want to do instead?
Let's make one.
Yeah.
All right, we're all for it.
All right, cool. You want to start it, Tony? You don't want to freestyle this one for me, player?
Good, man. You got that big old bass right there in the front, so why don't you start it?
Okay. Oh, man. Let's see here. Tony Austin, y'all.
Awesome. So before we let you go today, first, thank you so much again for being here.
Mm-hmm.
But before we let you go, can you tell us where we can catch you again in the future coming up?
Well, we just finished a wonderful run over here on the East Coast. In New York, we just played at Rough Trade, and that was awesome. So I want to thank everybody that came out to the shows on this side of the country. We're headed back to do Playboy Jazz Festival on the 11th, and then we will head over to Europe for a bunch of dates that you can see on milesmosley.com. And if you follow me on any social media platform at Miles Mosley, MilesMosley, we keep everything up to date, and we hope that your audience comes out and rocks with us. We have a good time at our shows.
There's a bigger band, too. It's not just me.
Awesome.
We bring one of the Get Down with us, the horns, Cameron Graves on piano. It's a good show. You know?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Thank you guys again for being
Thanks
here.
for having us, Paste.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Pace rocks.